Carlton here. Welcome to another awesome day of FileMaker Training. I'm here with our broadcast engineer, Margaret, and our guest star, who is Monkeybread, Christian Schmitz. How are you, Christian Schmitz?
Hello, I'm fine. Thanks.
Good. You're fine. You're good. That's awesome. I'm glad it's pretty late your time. I'm glad you're here today. Before we get started, let's go ahead, Margaret, if you want to bring up the upcoming broadcast schedule. Yeah, yep. Would be really swell.
We're looking at it.
We're looking at the broadcast schedule. So for the next 5 days or so, these are the topics we have selected. Margaret, what do we have?
Okay, so today we have the wonderful, wonderful Christian Schmitz. On Thursday, we have Introduction, Extending FileMaker with Python and External Technology. It's kind of just like a basic beginner conversation of, I want to use blank with FileMaker. We're talking mostly Python, I think, and JavaScript. Friday is going to be Execute SQL and FileMaker for Beginners, with part of a 3-day Friday series with Mr. Kyle Williams to go over Execute SQL. Friday is the beginner day for the I have no idea what to do. So that'll be fun.
Yep.
Monday and Wednesday next week, it kind of looks like that Nick is going to do classes in logic. Except applying.
Classes in logic. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. He has something cooked up that'll be good for all of us. I think we'll enjoy that. Real quick, I do want to point out that we had for those of you who are paying attention to what Claris is saying we're doing on our live streams, we're doing kind of an in-flight adjustment because Dr. Watson is not available for Thursday. So we've got Bill Kaplis who's back, who did a lot of great work with us on the credit card processing. And what he's going to do is kind of start and kick over a conversation about, once again, it came up in the FileMaker community forums, pretty busy conversation about when to take kind of, you have some processing that you need to do, some data munging and calculating and things like that. Not across one record, but across a lot of records. And at what point is it better just to get it out of FileMaker, have something else process it, and then bring it back to FileMaker, right? So using external technologies. And so Bill is kind of a Python fan for whatever reason. I don't know anything about Python except that every IT guy since forever, they always like, oh, you got to do Python, right? And of course now there's a lot of JavaScript, but Python has been there. It still is still there. It's very popular, and so it's kind of a beginning kind of conversation about this. If you folks are watching and you have feedback tomorrow about that, it's very important. Like if you want to see more of this, like we could do more deeper drill down into Python and kind of basics that you could do. But there has to be some engagement and some interest in that. Otherwise, kind of like, why bother, right? So what we do after tomorrow will be totally based upon your feedback, right? So cool. All right. And so, Margaret, what else we got? So, and then also for those of you, as a reminder, Margaret, if you want to go to fmtrain.tv, there's a tab on the right side, which is our special high-intensity training. So that's special high-intensity training for FileMaker certification. That is a special event, January 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, and probably some more days after that. It'll end when we've covered the material in complete detail. And so what I am doing is I'm spending a lot of time every day working on the training guide that we're going to present to people in this training event. So it's not like something we're just throwing together. It's something that's taken a lot of time and effort. As a result, it's not a free event. There'll still be live streams those days at 1 o'clock, but there'll be a second kind of private live stream at 11 o'clock is be the private one, the normal one at 1 o'clock. And so if you want to be part of that, make sure you have a complete training bundle. Your subscription is current. We do appreciate the support. In fact, this is frankly a reward for all the people who keep their complete training memberships current. We really appreciate that. And so for those of you who have missed the memo, I'm going to do this, officially do this. I want everyone that has wants a good deal on the Monkeybread software, know that the Black Friday deal, I think, might still be going today. I'm not sure, but you could save 20% or something on it. It's a pretty good deal, good sale. And so if you haven't got Monkeybread, you're thinking about Monkeybread, it's one of the essential tools I consider in the FileMaker platform. It's so essential that it should be built within, should be included with your purchase of FileMaker. But yeah, Claris won't do that, right? So this is a third-party product by Christian Schmitz here. I highly recommend it. Like I recommend 360works products. I recommend Base Elements. I recommend Monkeybread. So with that, Christian Schmitz, why are we here today? What's the latest with your stuff? What are we doing?
Well, we have a question and answer. So, do people have questions?
Oh, well, if they don't have any questions, we can just call it good and shut the broadcast off right now.
No. Then I have a little surprise for later.
Already current on Monkeybread, does buying today extend our subscription? That's a question for you.
So I just let the coupon code run another day.
Yeah, if they buy it, say they already are current and they buy more.
Yeah, well, when they don't need to buy it, they can just download the new pre-release.
Yeah, but what if they want to give you money? Can they extend their license?
They can just extend it. Yeah, they can just extend it.
Yeah.
Right. So I can share my screen.
Cool. Absolutely.
Yeah. So you see something, I hope.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
we do.
So this is FileMaker version, recent one. So I make a new file and just let's say, store it somewhere. Let's go to the script. Let's say we make a new script. We define a variable. Let's say it's $test123. And now we define another variable. And so now you can see, I type here the dollar symbol.
Okay.
There's autocompletion of variable names.
Wait, are you doing that or they're doing
Yeah.
it? Who's doing that?
That's the plugin.
That's the plugin. So you're auto-completing variable
So
name?
let's define another variable, a global one.
Uh-huh.
And maybe another dummy here. So we see something. And so that's something I worked on the last weekend. So you type a $sign and it will suggest all the variable names defined in the script above where you are.
You know, we really shouldn't be getting excited about this. This is really stupid, right? Because it's one of those, like Christian Schmidt is pointing out obvious things that should be in the product, like duh, but it's not there. So it leaves an opening for a entrepreneurial German to come in and make some money. So there we go. That says that is awesome. I love the feature. Oh, there we go. There we go. Mac only. All you Windows people can kiss Christian's ass.
Yeah. Well,
damn.
Just get a new MacBook. So, let's see. I can type.
This is going to get uncomfortable.
And it will autocomplete the globals only. And if you type $1 and you start typing some variable name, it will narrow down the search to only the variable ones.
Okay, so Larry was asking if you had a space in there on purpose or it was an accident.
Spaces are not. This is one of the things I don't like, spaces in variables.
Okay.
No, it's failing. So save the script again. Dollar. Oh, not this window. You need a real calculation window. So.
Yeah.
Oh, it did pick up the space.
Oh.
Oh, he was
I'm
talking
sorry,
about
I
like
didn't expect that. I didn't expect it.
Yeah, there you go. It's a surprise to everyone, including the guy who built it, right? So Larry was asking you had a space before the $sign. You did you mean to do that? Because I think
you don't need that. But
I think that was an accident, Larry.
So and I just figured out today, more or less by accident, that if you do some inlining here, if you just type, what was it? No, there was a comment. If you type something, and you can also get autocompletion in your comment here. The plugin looks for variable names here, which are defined by set variable. If you have something else, like let's say a set, a let statement. So let's make a let statement here. So $ABC as 1. So the plugin can't see the definition, so it will complain the variable is not defined. And for that, we usually declare the variable for the plugin with a comment.
Whoa. Go back. So are you just now starting to put little warning messages over here? That's
not new. That's a couple of years old. You mistyped it maybe, and the plugin shows an error there.
Okay, stop. Margaret, can you zoom in on that a little bit? I don't know if your computer set to zoom. You got to see that. That I have not seen that before. Of course, you have 6,500 features in here.
Let me just zoom in. So here you see.
Wow.
To make the window smaller. The script actually reads the lines above where you are currently. And we only read up to 500 lines currently because, well, if you have really long scripts with thousands of lines, this could otherwise slow down. So yeah, it's actually, if you go on our website, you can try it right away. So we have mbsplugins.com. There's our blog, where I just posted a new beta version today. And it's not listed here because it's a surprise for the live stream.
All right, what's not listed? The
new feature, yeah. The autocomplete feature is not listed there. It's a surprise.
It's a surprise. Okay. Yeah, I've not seen that before. That should be built into the product, but it's so. Now that we see it, it's so obvious that it should be there. It's like, hello, anyone at Claris there? Hello. It's like an obvious thing, right? So anyway.
So you can go on our website, and if you're on the website, you can click here on this little link for beta versions. Which will bring you into this folder, and there's a disk image. You can download and install this version of the plugin. And then you have the autocomplete enabled. You get it only on Mac, and it's one of the free features we give away.
Oh, okay.
But we still appreciate if you buy a license.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, once again, reminder that we get this 20% discount if you folks buy it today and or you extend your license. So I highly recommend you do that, because keeping Christian Schmidt employed and making new versions of this product is really a valuable thing. Questions? Do we have questions about? I mean, there's only 6,585 features in this thing. So does anyone have a question about one of those 6,000?
Registration function or preferences dialog. So if you need, you can have the license be permanent on the computer. And we have a preference dialog where you can enter your license key or you enter it by script. And here I made a new checkbox today here for autocomplete. So if you don't like it, you can disable it.
Ah, okay.
Because every time I make a new feature, I need to make a checkbox for people to disable it. So, and there's also the checkbox here for variable names. But it requires that you code in a special way, like you actually use set variable to initialize variables before you use them.
All right, Stu has a question. He says, did I see typing a variable name without $, then some keyboard shortcut to add it? If so, is that MBS or is that just FileMaker?
You can have a let statement with a variable name without a $, but we only look on ones with $.
Okay.
And if you want to define a variable name, you maybe have globally, like your username or whatever. You can do that with a command here. It can be variable, it can be a parameter, or I think we also have constant. Let's see, let's name them differently. Let's see if we found them. Not in this window. And if you hold the Option key and click the gear, you're jumping right into the dialog. So $, and you see we have username 2 and 3 because it.
Okay, the option key jump. That's part of FileMaker, or is that something you?
No, that's the plugin.
The plugin, because I'm like, I don't remember that being there, right? So that's like a really handy thing, because we always normally click it and you get the stupid. Are you sure you would like to do something, right? So yeah.
Same here with set field where I can hold Option.
I hit that. Yeah, I hit that see, that's what you normally get, right? Or you just hit the Option, you just go straight in.
Yeah, if you use the Option key, the plugin will just click the specify button for you.
Oh, okay.
And just save you some time. It's so annoying. I mean, I'm not sure why we have this dialog, except that you define a name and repetition, but that could be merged into one dialog.
So let me back up for a second. For those of you who are kind of new to this conversation, maybe new. So if I back out, if you can go do me a favor, just go to the Monkeybread website, the basic website. The Monkeybread plugin is a kind of a Swiss Army knife. If you could imagine a Swiss Army knife with like 6,000 little blades and little gizmos on it, that's what the Monkeybread plugin is. Literally the Swiss Army knife of the FileMaker platform. It's a plugin you put in. It helps with development. It helps solve technological hurdles, that limitations of the product. It's literally, whenever we say FileMaker can't do that, then normally we say install Monkeybread, and then FileMaker can do that, right? Normally is what happens. There are a handful of things that are Mac only or Windows only, but generally it's cross-platform and it does everything. So yeah, Kyle says, I love these sessions with Monkeybread. There's so many hidden features. So yeah, so a lot of you people are watching the recording. This might seem to be a kind of a new kind of conversation. We didn't really explain kind of what Monkeybread is. It's somewhat useful to explain what it is. And so it's a plugin. You can install it on the pro users, Mac or Windows, or you can install it on the FileMaker server. So the server has access to it, which also means Go and WebDirect can kind of get access to it.
So we have a website with all our syntax coloring goodies. So people can read a little bit about all the things we do, like search and colorizing and highlighting. And we have a few new things added over time, like here, the option click. So that got added somewhere, and I made a blog post about it. So if you go to set variable window, to this window here on the top, you can actually type the variable without the $sign and just press return, and FileMaker adds the $sign.
Stu says, is there a way to determine which features are for developers and which ones are for users? Right. So I guess not so much users, but which ones are really developer-centric, kind of like this variable.
So yeah, these things are for developers, of course, and we actually only enable a couple of features if you at least open a script workspace once. So the plugin detects that you are a developer, and then it will turn on things like the coloring here. Because otherwise, it may be that some user is typing something, like if your user is typing a number and it turns purple, they may be confused. So we only enable those features if you are a developer, like when we see you opening a script workspace. And we also have other functions, like we have regular functions here. And you would buy licenses if you use those functions with your customers or your databases. And if you use just the scripting help features, you may still buy a license for your developers.
All right. So Michael, is that Michael? Michelle. That's Michael. This one's Michael. Do you have video tutorials of your plugins? That's his question.
Yeah, well, kind of. I mean, we have recorded live streams.
Yeah, it's live stream, but I mean, it's basically you want to go into the help here.
No, we have some blog posts. We have some videos collected here where I showed things here, like there's a goodies for macOS video where we showed a couple of things. And you can just watch it, or you can just read things on the documentation. Like we got actual functions to turn things on and off, which I use as a point where I can document things. So let's go on the syntax coloring functions. So like there's a function here, check variable declaration enable, and there we tell you a little bit about what the variable check does. And then we also tell you here the comments you can make to declare a variable, like here in the example, so you can learn a little bit about it.
Kyle Williams says on December 17th, he will be presenting on some SQL stuff, and he'll be including the MBS SQL functions. So
Excellent. I mean, we have a lot of functions here. Let's see. Over 100. So this may take a while.
I have a question about that. So SQL fundamentally in the FileMaker platform is mostly a kind of a search and kind of a reading function, right? So searching, reading, sorting. It doesn't allow you to really edit data. With the SQL that is in your enhanced capabilities, do you allow it to do other things like reading or writing and deleting?
Yeah, but first, this here is a sequencing for connecting to other databases, like Microsoft SQL Server or MySQL or whatever. And this is an alternative way compared to ESS. So you have a script which opens a connection, which copies a few records from FileMaker to MySQL or MySQL to FileMaker, and then stops the connection. And we also have the FM SQL functions here, which are within FileMaker. And there you can call a function to delete a record, to insert a record, like this one. So if you just want to insert a record in a different table in some file, you can just pass a list of field names and values, and the plugin will construct a SQL command for you and just run it.
Yep, there you go. Insert record. Yeah, so this gives you many more capabilities. Kyle Williams says, for context, try checking out the base element site. There are no examples of any of the functions or any explanation of how to use them. This is the reason why I love MBS. Christian has some samples of everything. In all fairness to base elements, when you buy the product and you have a license for that, they do have a shared Dropbox they share with the development community where there's a bunch of samples and stuff in there. Although I think this to me looks somewhat more organized. And the products, although they run into each other a little bit, I consider them somewhat kind of a little different. But yes, for me, mostly the value is the base elements application. You know, they always have the base elements plugin. Then they have the app that you buy, which does diagnostic stuff, which is by far the best diagnostic tool out there.
I'm happy about every FileMaker user who makes a step from no plugins to any plugin. If they pick up the base elements one and just get used to using a few plugins functions and then discover my plugin, that's fine.
Training wheels for the 6,000.
Yeah, training wheels. Oh, that's good. Yeah, I can see the advertisement for Monkeybread. Hey, when you're done with your base elements training wheels, come use Monkeybread. Yeah, that would start a fight between you and Nick Orr. Oh, we can't have fights like that. So, all right, good. Other questions we have. Like I said, I love when I talk about base elements, I'm mostly referring to their utility for it takes a look at your solution, finds unreferenced things, stuff like that. It's what I consider an essential product.
I think I know we talked about this a little bit, but you mentioned that you added a lot of new web preferences functions for the web view stuff. Do you want to go over that? Because I thought those were really cool, and I know that 19.4 just launched.
Yeah, well, didn't they do something specifically for you, like a hook for you or something?
Yes.
Did you bribe them and pay them to do that, or they just did it on their own?
No, I just tried for months to get into the Edge browser there. So to get the connection between the thing you are seeing on the screen and an object I can catch in C++ and actually use. So if you go on our web functions, like let's say you need one of the best one is probably the evaluate. So you can just run any JavaScript on a website and you get back the result. And we implemented that recently for Edge. For the Edge one. So you can just evaluate something. And let me just fire up here the windows. And we can try that. And for the preferences, that's something I got on the way because we made the Yeah, set
So,
preferences.
so explain it again. Explain this again. Go a little more kind of
So,
slowly for people who are not quite as smart as you are. So what did they do again?
so the technology behind the web viewer in FileMaker used to be
Yep.
Internet Explorer, and now it's the Microsoft Edge engine based on Chrome.
Right.
And we got from Claris a little help to access the object. So I got my plugin functions working again. And now I have to wait for FileMaker to launch.
So this is VMware running Windows
11.
in German, Windows 11 in German, right?
Yeah,
So,
you see it. Here's the message. This is a evaluation thing. Because, well, I use Windows as a throwaway thing. So you buy a license, you put it on your shelf, and you just install demo versions.
yeah.
Until you want to keep that. So if you want to keep the Windows installation, you can eventually enter the license key. But usually we make a lot of test versions. So we have here a little script which can grab the text of a web page. So
Really? Kind of, it's so everyone understands the slowness here is related to VMware, right? This is
and my network, which is currently busy transferring my screen.
Yeah.
But, so I cleared it, the text, I press the button, the plugin will load the page, and once this is done, it will grab the text, which is currently the text displaying here. So this could be some text built by JavaScript, and you would still get it. So
you load it in the web viewer, and then you have this get text function that goes and it scrapes the web viewer. So it's a scraper.
Yeah, this can be very useful. So I know I have to enable the tools because they are missing to start the whole thing.
You have to kill it and reopen it. Yeah. All right. Well, that's pretty cool. So scraping web pages. We've talked about it with Nick before. It's an important thing, an important skill to be able to do to get data. So
okay, and one of the things we made for the Chrome engine is we got a few new preferences you can turn on and off. Like you can decide if you want to have JavaScript enabled, web messaging, you want to have the default script dialogues, a status bar, whether you want to enable the developer tools or not. So you could disable them for your users.
All right, so let me read this. So this is implemented for Windows with Microsoft Edge engine in MBS 11.5 or later.
Yep.
In FileMaker 19.4 or later. So,
yep.
So you're saying that these are options if we could tell. So we're telling your plugin to open the web viewer. Is that what we're saying? What these are preferences?
No, so let's see. We have the script here to. This is a German version of this.
That's fine. We'll pretend like we can read it. All right.
Okay. So. You see it's loading the URL. It's doing a pause. You see a loop that's waiting for the web page to be finished loading, and then it calls the get plain text. So, and I actually wanted to get the data viewer because I want to just try something. I can just use my evaluate my functions here and say 1 + 2 is invalid because what's the name of the web viewer? Oh, that's name of the web viewer is web, but edit. This is so when you have a web viewer. The web viewer doesn't exist until it loads an URL. That's why I have to put something like about blank here. I have FileMaker actually create a physical web viewer that the plugin can find. So.
Okay, so how did you determine that the web viewer was fully loaded? Your script was obviously waiting for something to happen. What's the logic? Can you explain that?
Yeah, so now I can evaluate.
Now evaluate.
So this script is loading a website,
Yep.
and then it's makes a loop and waits till the website is fully loaded.
Okay, I'm not reading German here, but how do we know it's fully loaded? What are we
Well,
looking
we
at?
have this is loading function, which is a little
Okay.
helper function, which tells you if the web view is loading something.
If it is loading, and then if it's not loading, it's done, right? Is that the idea?
Yeah, it's done.
Yeah.
So we wait until it's no longer returning a 1.
It doesn't equal 1. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So exit the loop,
Okay. Yeah.
and then we got here, we have the plain text. This can be very useful. And if you like, and use one of those preferences. So we got, on the web viewer, we got a couple of things working, like the progress, cut, copy, and paste, evaluate can be useful. The form function, so you can fill a form. You can query the form.
How does that, when you fill a form, how the hell does that even work? Do you have to target, you name the field or something like that you want to fill into?
Yeah, basically.
So you have to look at the kind of the source of the form you bring on screen, right?
Yeah, basically you need to know the form name, the field name, or you go by index. That's also possible. And you see here's an example where we go to some domain to fill in a login form with username, password, then submit it to automatically log you in without actually you having to type it every time. But you need to know the field names. We have this little utility, form fields utility, which helps to list the form fields. I have a screenshot of that. Form fields. Oh yeah, there was a web view communication. We have here blog post. No, that's not the one I made.
So
writing web forms. Well, okay, another function, another blog post listing the functions.
Yep. All right,
and we got a video for that. That was it, I think. So automate web viewer. This one. This is a video you can watch where we show you our little utility to get the form field names, and the plugin and the utility automatically shows you the command to use. So you can copy that to your FileMaker solution and build a script. Yeah. So you can watch this video to automate the web viewer. And we got the webhook functionality in the last version, yeah. That's what David is asking.
Yeah, he talked about that. So it's where the basically the webhook is, I mean, so if you're using FileMaker Server, it already has webhooks because that's what DAPI is. It's an endpoint that you can talk to. If you're using FileMaker Pro by itself, it doesn't have on its own the ability to listen for traffic, but you built that into the product with this plugin, right?
Yeah. So we have the common use case that people run some device in the local network, which may notify them with a HTTP request about something happening. This could be a doorbell, a phone system, a scale, whatever. So your phone system could be configured to use a HTTP request to a computer if the phone rings next to the computer. And then you could catch this request with our webhook and trigger a script and do something useful, like finding the customer matching to the number on the phone.
So you're talking about another application on your specific computer shooting off the request to FileMaker Pro that's on the same computer, right?
No, not the same computer. The phone system would usually be somewhere in your basement, and you have several phones in your house, and maybe to every phone on the desk for one of your employees, there's maybe a computer, and the computer has an IP address.
Okay, that's what I wanted to get to, right? Because a lot of businesses don't really give static addresses to their users in their office, right? So
actually, they don't need to be static. They could be provided by a local DNS server. Like you could name each computer.
Oh, yeah. Well, you just have to find a way of specifically identifying the computer, right? That's
Yeah.
kind of the trick. So that's
So basically, we need to know which computer is next to which phone.
yes.
You could just make a table in FileMaker and put all the hardware IDs in there and match them to the current IP address automatically.
Yeah, the trick is to have the machines with some sort of address. It doesn't have to necessarily be static, but let's put it this way: as you restart a computer, the address cannot be recycling and changing itself, right?
Oh well, my DNS server keeps the addresses for something like 4 weeks assigned,
Okay.
and will even remember that. So even after that, it will, as long as the database is not cleared, it will reassign the same IP to the same computer.
Yeah.
So it's fairly stable for my network, at least.
Yeah, and I think that's the trick. So, even if you don't have static addresses, you have what I would consider manually assigned addresses. And then once again, that's your IT group. But if you can manually assign an address, then you can target that machine with a request, which is kind of the trick. I think. Yeah. So this is very, very neat, very valuable.
Yeah,
right?
this is very new, and it's made for this a few requests every few seconds. It's not made to replace your web server or to receive hundreds of transactions per second. So for that, you would use a server usually, and you can decide which script to run here, and you can define to have custom responders. You could have the script respond on the content, and you can even have it run on a FileMaker server, but they need to use a loop checking for new requests coming in. And please try it. Let me know how it works for you, and if you have any ideas, requests for changes.
Okay, so I'm looking at the Discord here. Organ Dean posted something a couple minutes ago. I guess I missed it. Turning the recording off, then ask anything to help with CAPTCHAs, right? So,
well, you can have the plugin simulate a click or a type, but really, the people who are trying to overcome CAPTCHAs, that's not a good business.
Lynn has a question. What percentage of the functions work on Windows?
Yeah, let's go to the documentation. So we have statistics. No, statistics. Okay, number of functions 6,679. For Windows 4,405.
Of the 6679, so
5 by 6679. So
it's about 60 or 70%.
65, yeah.
So yeah, so it's a big chunk of them, and when you look in here, if you go in here, you're looking for a feature like, say, you're interested in PDF management. We've already had a conversation, I don't know, a month or two ago on PDFs, but say you were interested in that and you went and looked under PDF, then it would tell you whether the commands, like just do a search for PDF, I guess, right? Some sort of PDF stuff.
So we have
Dyna PDF.
Dyna PDF functions. Those are cross-platform, all platforms, and
yeah. So then you got Mac, Windows, Linux server. So yeah, pretty much you're fully supported. So what you have to do is check the docs and make sure that it's supported, and then you'd be on pretty good footing, Lynn.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So Labos, how many?
Yeah, we have more developers on Mac because they love our little features here. This window, always the wrong window. Oh, global one, yeah. So we have to find the bugs. May not do it in strings. We have to see. And so more developers on Mac, but I think actually users using FileMaker is Windows, because all those corporations with a lot of PCs, they use Windows.
Yep.
Except maybe some, clever companies. I think I read reports about companies like Windows like IBM let people choose.
this is kind of an interesting question from YouTube. I don't know if you saw this one, Richard, and I missed it.
Yeah, go ahead and speak up, Margaret. Speak a little louder, it'd be great.
Okay. I have been afraid to download or use MBS plugins. It looks daunting, especially for a new developer. He kind of mentions that sales might rocket if your plugin be clicked and open a quick video example, which, I mean, that's complicated. Well, yeah. Basically, I think the question boils down to MBS is scary. Help.
Yeah, how do we make it not scary, right? So, I mean, the first thing I would do is download it and run it in free mode, which gives you the ability to adjust the size and see some other things that are free.
Yeah.
And then I think what you'll do is you'll end up running into a problem where, oh, I got to do this with a PDF and I don't know how to do it. And then you're like, well, since the boss said I really have to do this with PDF, I need to figure out a way to do it. And you look it up and says, oh, by the way, yeah, the Monkeybread supports PDF creation, editing, all sorts of stuff. Delta Sparrow 888. So Delta Sparrow 888, cool call sign on Twitch says JavaScript integrations ?
Yeah, well, we have two things there. The first thing is we can run JavaScript without a browser. So you can just run any, well, not any, but you can run some JavaScript without actually having a browser open to do maybe here a calculation like this checksum calculation. So if you have to calculate something and you got the JavaScript code to do so, you can use that in FileMaker, even on the server in a script without a web viewer. And then we got our web view functions, and that's where did I have it?
We're just looking at those.
Yeah, we just looked on those, and like
I have a question.
If I take here the Windows one where I have the TinyMCE example, just let's see if it still works here. So I have an example to use TinyMCE, which is a little tool. So,
there you go.
So it's loading. So
there we
this
go.
is a web viewer. This is a web viewer with a little text editor, which I can use to edit some HTML.
Okay. And then
So
can you target? Go ahead and target that with your. Can you target that? Okay.
So we can have some HTML here. We can load it in the editor, and we can query the resulting HTML. And that's using our web view functions.
So then if you are in here and you're writing, so you're writing in here, you could use your get the contents and rip the context out of here and stick it in the field.
Yeah, we do that. We put here, I can clear the field. I can query. Oh, yeah, there it is. So things are a little bit slow today. So to save, we run a little JavaScript. Let me show you the JavaScript. So the TinyMCE JavaScript object has a get function to get some element and get the content of it. And we stuff it into a hidden form field on this HTML page. If that worked, the plugin will then use our form function here. The form function here to query the web viewer for this form name and this field name and get back the HTML text. Let me do a little bit here cleanup with replace new line to get the line endings for FileMaker. We also remove some control characters if they are some and put it in a field. And this way we can query the content of the HTML here. We can also load HTML by, again, converting the line endings, putting it in a form field.
Is this sample file obviously available? I mean, somewhere.
Yes.
Where is that? So
it's included in the examples folder with the plugin.
Okay.
So on Mac, I can go. So you downloaded the plugin, maybe today, this version, and you go to examples. And then there's a web viewer folder, and there you find a lot of interesting examples. And as you may know, we have over 600 example files, so it may take a while to look at them. And there's a tiny MCE folder.
Yeah, so the idea is that you can edit in this basically tiny web browser, and then you grab the text out, save it into a field, right? So that's pretty great. Because you can grab the text without the HTML. That's what I'd want to do. I'd want to grab the formatted text. And
yeah, that's difficult.
That's difficult?
Because, yeah, well, you would get the HTML, and then you would have to convert the HTML to formatted text, which can be done with the plugin, but it depends on whether you're Mac or Windows, because you have to do different ways.
Yeah.
I think you don't like that. So we have formatted. So you would get the HTML, then you would load the HTML into formatted. So we have functions like here get formatted text, which on Mac and iOS can query the text directly with styles. So you get it with styles like a plain text, but with formatting. And on Windows, you would have to do a different way. Like there is a copy command. So you actually can copy what's selected. And to get it selected, we have a select all method. So you would load the HTML in a web viewer.
Okay.
Then you would tell the plugin to select all the text, copy it, and then you have the formatted text on the clipboard. And the next thing would be to paste it by a script command into the FileMaker field. So FileMaker would do the conversion. Because we don't have any HTML to style text conversion in the plugin. Okay. Sorry.
Well, it's rare that we actually ask for something and it's not in there. So, I mean, we're not going to hold that over your head. But yeah, just the question, because it's that was always the issue with using, because like if someone's formatting a message or writing a really pretty over here with the tiny MCE, and then you want to save that action, you could save it as plain text, or you could. The idea is that someone writes this, thank you for your interest in, Kyle Williams is an amazing developer and blah, blah, he should work at whatever company. And thanks, all the best to HR or something, right? And so then when you say send it off out of the system, it's going to stick an email, send it, but we need to kind of archive that text into FileMaker so we have a record of the communication, right? So anyway, that's kind of my thought process on that. So
I would just store the HTML and render it in a web viewer when needed.
That also works too.
Like we have examples to send and receive emails, and the IMAP example shows you how to preview emails, including attachments, like with pictures.
You just have to take the pieces you want and ignore the rest. I mean, when you get the plugin, you're only going to use the pieces you need. You're never going to use all 66. Like if I had to sit down and use the plugin, I'd use it for text and a couple things. I would use 12 things of the 66 or 6,700.
So if you are on our download page, I would actually suggest you scroll down and you find here a little video about the introduction. So you can watch it for Mac or for Windows, probably in English for you. And Stephanie will show you how to install the plugin, how to use a few functions, and a few examples. So we have that right on the download page.
So there's the introduction video you want, Michael. I didn't realize he had one. I will get a link.
I have a question here. If you scroll up, but before you leave, go down for a second. So it says right here, it says Visual Studio Runtime, 64-bit. So you have to install Visual Studio Runtime library.
Actually, yeah, yes, but since I changed the plugin recently, so we don't need the version 19 of the Visual Studio Runtime. We just need the one from 15, and that's the same one FileMaker needs. So if you have FileMaker 17, 18, 19 installed, you get the library automatically. so we don't have to worry about that.
Okay, so FileMaker on Windows requires a Visual Studio runtime library, and you said 2015, and it auto installs. You never see it.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, you don't see it. And usually, if you get just Windows 10 fresh installed, you have it already. So it's included. But there may be that in the future we may use a 2017 or 2019 version of the library and require it, and then you may need to install that. But I would expect that also Claris considers using a newer version of the library, and so they would then pre-install it.
Yeah,
so
I'm sure.
I want to only require the things that FileMaker requires. So.
Right. Well, it keeps the overhead and the maintenance and the questions to a lower level. So Ruben says he has great respect for you. You are an amazing person. You're the best human I've ever seen. Right. So no, that's Ruben's being it's talking to Christian is an intimidating process because you're dealing with a person here he keeps all this stuff in his head. You don't have a photographic memory, do you? Or something similar to that?
Yeah, I can remember a lot of code I wrote.
Okay,
but not all.
That's not all.
So
not just semi.
If you like to learn a little bit more, you can watch a couple of these videos here. Like there was a presentation from DEF CONs where I showed what the plugin can do. There are presentations from here from user groups. And we have, of course, here links to the videos with here, the FileMaker training podcast.
Very impressive. Well, we're running up against our time stop for today. Want to remind everyone that tomorrow we'll be doing kind of starting an overview conversation of other capabilities and things, other technologies you can glue in. Monkeybread continues to be one of our top plugins we recommend. Highly recommend you check it out. If you want the special sale, today's the last day. How do we get the special sale? One more time, if you want the plugin.
That's simply you have to order through the web shop and use for a new license, use the coupon code Black Friday.
Okay.
We had it on the blog a few days ago.
Okay.
So let's scroll down. Thanksgiving sale, yeah. So coupon code Black Friday. And just if anyone has trouble, just tell me.
Yep. That's the way to do it. Cool. Well, there you go. So that's if you go www.mbs-plugins.com.
That's our blog website. So you can read all of the things new in our plugins. Like here's a summary for the 11.5 version, and also scroll down and see a lot of interesting things we post. Like we could probably talk about a recursive folder copy script all a full hour because recursion is not easy.
Yes. All right, cool. Well, it's a good time, everyone. So you definitely recommend the plugin. Feel free to check it out. Even if you don't want to pay for it, download it for free, play with the free features. Don't let it overwhelm you. It does more than you will ever completely do, if that makes any sense, right? So it'll always do more than you need, but it's like the Swiss. Like, how many times have you, for those of you who have a Swiss Army knife or a knife like that, how many times have you used everything on the Swiss Army knife? Almost never, right? You use the 5 or 10 things that you really need, and the rest of it's kind of extra, right? So
yeah, everyone buys a plugin for one function, and the rest is free.
There you go. Exactly. Stu and David, anything else? Larry, it's always a terrific MBS day. Yep, great. David says thank you very much. Cool. And then
Richard hasn't yet seen my monkey. Got a little thing.
The what monkey? What?
Click his thing and look behind him.
Okay, if you guys have any ideas for new plugin features, please let me know.
So if they want to email you, how do they email you? What's the best way to email you?
Yeah, just support@monkeybread software.
All right, support@monkeybreadsoftware.de. Awesome, great. All right, Margaret, that's it. All right, have a good one. individual up here who maybe a FileMaker license. Well, it's potentially expired. Look at the back of that car right there. Looks like the FileMaker license has expired. Sir, I need you to step out of the vehicle. Sir, step out of the vehicle. Sir.